Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Ninja, aka Izuku, and I'm back again with a different video. This one is a story that should be one of the first ones coming back to the channel. Not only have I had this in my head for like an hour now, but the script has already changed twice. And by the way, I didn't script this one out. This one is coming off the dome, but I already planned it out in my head once. Then, like, legitimately, when I was gathering the pictures for this, it changed immediately. But you saw well, you probably clicked this because you saw the thumbnail or you read the title. This is Killer 7 Deku. Now you might be wondering, how am I gonna make? I said Deku. Fuck. Killer 7 Tanjiro. I'm glad I caught that before I went too far into this. Yeah, but this is Killer 7 Tanjiro. It was originally just gonna be a texting story because that's what I was gonna make it. But like I said, I thought of this an hour ago, and my first thought was, let's make this into a fucking vocal. So here I am. Now I'm about to turn this fucking TV down, or might not. It depends on how annoying it gets. My fan is in the background already making noise. My cat might jump around and do a lot of other shit that's gonna make noise. My bed makes noise, and my cousin who is here, he is over there sleeping right now. So yeah, if he wakes up, he's definitely gonna make a lot of noise, but I can deal with him. I might turn this fucking TV down for real. Like I'm sorry, but this shit has been playing all night. I don't get how people go to sleep to this. I'm not gonna say what I just thought of, but this reminds me of one time when my cousin went to sleep listening to something. Boy, yeah. Now, since I'm already 2 minutes in, I might as well get to the video. I don't know what it is, but every time I start recording these videos, it feels like my voice is going to scratch out. Yeah. I'm gonna start sounding like that. But yeah, I'm not. Hopefully, let me fix my fucking microphone. There we go. And yeah, I need to finish up solo leveling. Well, I said solo leveling. Shadow Monarch system Deku. I need to finish that up. Damn, that's loud. 1 second. Alright, I'm back. So yeah. What are you looking for? Oh, he chilling. I was about to say what he looking at. Now, like I said, I changed this video script twice now. The first one, it was gonna be a normal Demon Slayer video ish. It wasn't gonna be the same, but it was gonna be a bit different. But this one, I find this one a bit more entertaining. Now, if you want to at least hear the first variation, don't worry. I still have that one in my head, and I might even record that part after I record this one. But I know for a fact I might forget this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and record that one now. Well, this one now. Why are you staring down my water bottle? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? My fault. Okay, so this story begins before Yoriichi goes to, kill his brother. Actually, this is the day he leaves. We go to see Yoriichi already had another son. Now, you might be saying, oh, why would he move on after his wife's death? Which, in canon, he didn't. I'm going to say because in this one, the son is very he's going to be very important to the story. Well, his soon action is going to be very important to the story. Now, in this one, by the way, they look almost identical, except for, the son looks a bit more childish. This is one of the youngest photos. Well, I could have found a young-ish photo of Yoriichi, but I didn't want a young photo. Yoriichi died at, 180 something. I'm pretty sure it was around 80 something. But yeah, so I'm gonna say his son is in his teen years. So I didn't want to use a young Yurichi. I wanted a young-ish looking Yurichi. This was the closest I could find to him. Besides, never mind. We're just gonna ignore that. So the son would find, like, everyone would always compare him to Yurichi, as they'd always be like, he's the strong, he's gonna be very powerful since, he's Yurichi's son. It's never because, oh, he put in all this hard work. It's always because he's Yurichi's son. And so people would always talk, down about him every time he messed up. Oh, his father would have done this better, or my son could have done this, since other kids, of that generation were demon slayers. And since only him and his father knew sun breathing, he would smirk as he, one day, well, like I said, the day his father would go out to kill his brother and, eventually die to him, he would make up a rule that would go down in the history of all demon slayers to come. Every generation of a family that has or are close to demon slayers has to produce one demon slayer per generation. So basically, since, yeah. And I'm going to say, instead of the Kamado family being, just friends, I'm going to say they are direct relatives to the Tsuchikuni clan. They are. So his son, he would eventually he'd grow up. Obviously his father didn't lose, but he still ended up dying. And well, everyone, like he said, since he went to the master and he used Yurichi's word, like he said, my father said, make this happen since Muzan is still out there. Like he put that out there like that, and that's how it went, right? So every generation after that started training all of their children, not just one, but all of their children to be demon slayers. Why? Because they didn't want to just send out one child to go be a demon slayer. They wanted to make sure their children were safe with each other. And so they decided to try and send out 2 children per generation. And the Tsuchikuni clan, Sugikuni, however you want to pronounce it, I'm going to keep pronouncing it the way I pronounce it, okay? The Tsuchikuni clan would always have at least one child per 3 generations that would have sun breathing. But oddly enough, in this generation, no one showed signs of having sun breathing. Well, besides one, and she wasn't a boy. This would be Nezuko Kamado. Yeah, why did I say that? Why did I say Kamado like that? This would be Nezuko Kamado. Okay, why the fuck did my voice do that? Alright, as you can see, I'm not doing this on purpose. My voice just kind of does that. But yeah. So, like I was saying, Nezuko would have sun breathing, as she would be very proficient at it, as her father and her uncle, who is from the Sugikuni clan, or Tsuchikuni clan, which I'm gonna keep saying either of those two, would be training her. But I'm gonna say Tanjiro and Nezuko are twins in this. Her twin brother would show no aptitude for sun breathing. As a matter of fact, by the way, also the Sugikuni clan is, the Muichiro family is also, since, Kokoshibo, they are also part of the Sugikuni clan, and they know about it. That's why the Muichiro twins are still alive, like both of them. Their parents ended up dying, but I'm gonna say the new head of the Sugikuni clan, Tsuchikuni, whatever, bro. He found them, and yeah. And I'm going to say they are also the same age as Nezuko and Tanjiro. So I'm going to say all of them are 14 currently. No, I'm going to say all of them are 12. Yeah, 12 currently. Okay. So, like normal, since Muichiro and them trained with the master, I'm gonna say he still ended up training with the master, and both of them would learn mist breathing. Not just one, both would learn it, as they would be they'd be such a great duo. They would be the only Hashira to be a duo. Like it would be just like they'd be called the Mist Hashiras with an S at the end. Like the duos of Mist. Like that's legitimately their nickname. The duos of Mist. Now in this, people are very strict about their children becoming demon slayers, as they don't want to lose to the Sugikuni clan or the Muichiro clan or the Kamado family or clan. They are very competitive in this position, as to where they would try to learn sun breathing but obviously fail. They would even try to learn moon breathing but fail. Actually, hold on. Yeah, they would try to learn moon breathing, but fail. Obviously. No, I wasn't contemplating on giving them moon breathing. I was contemplating whether or not to give Muichiro moon breathing and his twin mist, or give his twin moon breathing and him mist. But nah. Why? Because I'm gonna continue now. By the way, I wasn't thinking of this when I first, this is just now hitting my head. So yeah, like I said, Nezuko is very proficient at sun breathing. And it would turn out that Tanjiro is very proficient at moon breathing, but he couldn't use that either. Like, he could use it, but he couldn't. Like, every time he tried, it would spark up, but nothing. So, Tanjiro is just incompatible with breathing styles in general. Like, he could use breathing styles, but he couldn't. That was the thing. Like, he could use every breathing style, but couldn't. Why? Because Tanjiro was too strong. But they didn't know this, as Tanjiro was always so nice that it just looked like he was a weak kid. But beneath all of that, Tanjiro was just really strong. By the way, this is I almost said Muichiro. This is Yorichi's son's blade, aka the Thousand Demon Dagger. Now you might be wondering, how the hell did he get the Thousand Demon Dagger? I will explain. Okay, so when his father died, he got a new blade. This blade was made from his father's blade because they found it. They didn't put it in the doll, obviously, because they gave it to the son, who was the second best after his father. Even though he wasn't his father, he was still the second best. And so he wanted his blade crafted a certain way. And his blade was crafted, but it didn't, it wasn't up to his liking. And so he would train day in and day out until his blade cracked in 1,000 places. Like, all over the blade, you could individually count all 1,000 pieces of it. But it never fell apart. His blade, until one day he was fighting, I'm going to say Muzan. No, I'm going to say Kokoshibo himself. He would be fighting Kokoshibo, and by now he's an adult. He would look like his father, just not as, but he would look like his father. He would fight him, and Kokoshibo, having PTSD, would instantly go full power. But this wasn't a problem, as he was evenly keeping up with a full-powered Kokoshibo. It's just that he couldn't handle, the strain that was being placed on his body by trying to keep up. But nonetheless, he would. They would fight for 3 days straight until his blade would shatter. Finally, it would shatter. But the hilt and how the blade is now, it would glow. As this thing behind the I almost said sigil. I forgot what the symbol. The symbol behind the blade in the picture. The Shadow Killer's sign. Basically the thing that Seven has on his sheath. I'm pretty sure this is exactly it. If I'm wrong, roast me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure this is exactly what's on his blade. 1 second. No, it is not. Okay, my bad. So I was right the first time. The Shadow Killer symbol. This would show up behind the blade as Kokoshibo, by the way, would have cut him down. Like, he didn't kill him, but like he cut him across the chest twice. And he would fall, but the blade, like the hilt of the blade would still be in the air. It would float there and glow this ominous purple. As Kokoshibo would grab it, and the blade, the shards would start to retract to each other, but it would curve and like stab through him. And it would be absorbing his power as he would start to grow weaker. And Muzan, who would sense this, would arrive on the scene and grab the blade from him and go to throw it. But it would start to, absorb his power, and it would rapidly drain Muzan. To the point where Kokoshibo would have to legitimately cut off Muzan's hand, which would turn to dust after being released. And the blade would just vanish. Like, it would scatter into pieces. The pieces of the blade would surround the hilt as it would fly away. And they would see that even Yurichi's son, whose name still has not been brought up, don't worry, his name is going to be very important later on. But yeah, his name, which still has not been brought up, he would be gone. The blade would have taken him as well. And it would have been draining his power as it would float back and take him to his domain, which is surrounded by, what was that shit called? The trees where demons cannot go through. Yeah, I don't remember what they're called. Don't roast me, bro. It's been a while, okay? It's been a while. But yeah, he would be sent back to his estate. He would get married as he could not use his breathing style anymore. The people would be confused on why he never picked up a blade to go fight demons anymore, but he would just always say he fought Upper One and Muzan alone, and he could not fight anymore. He would not explain why. So people just chalked it up to him being scared, and they started dissing the family. That's why they always wanted to grow a prodigy better than the Tsuchikuni clan, but they couldn't. They just couldn't. So then they tried to be better than the Kamado family, but couldn't. And then when the Tokito family, or Muichiro's family, would be found to be connected to the Sugikuni clan. Clan is crazy. The Sugikuni clan. They would try to breed better. All right, hold on. I need to drink water because this shit getting annoying. All right, I think I'm better. Hell no, bro. Ignore my voice, okay? So, yeah, like I was saying, they would always try to breed or make a better and stronger child than the whole family, like the whole clan in general, but they couldn't. And so they gave up on that dream. They just wanted to make children that would become Hashira. And this would, when people actually started getting children that were becoming Hashira, they would be excited. They thought their kids had finally caught up to the Sugikuni clan. By the way, each clan has Hashiras. They don't just have a set amount of Hashira. They don't have just Hashira that have one, like, the water-breathing Hashira, and then there's the wind. No, they have multiple Hashira that even use the same breathing style. And so every person who can use sun breathing in the Sugikuni clan are, like I said, every 3 generations. And everyone else can use moon breathing or mist breathing or any other breathing style that they choose. Usually they choose moon breathing. But Nezuko, who is a generational talent, like she is a once in a generational talent, she can use both moon and sun breathing. Tanjiro, on the other hand, was seen as a complete lack of everything. And like back in the day, they always saw twins as, like bad omens. But I'm going to say they didn't really care since, the Muichiro twins or the Tokito twins were very exceptional. They became Hashira at age 4, well, obviously this later on. So, yeah, even 2 years later, they would, be exceptional. They would already be Hashira by age 14, but Nezuko, who could be a Hashira, wasn't. She chose to stay back as she would not leave without her brother. And one day, people would attack her. These wouldn't be normal people, though. These would be demons, and she would easily take them down until a lower moon and in the upper moon. No, this is just a random. We're gonna say this is upper 7. He just hit the upper moon ranks, right? He's here with a demon that he made himself, that he is training to be, upper 8 or the next upper 7 if he were to die, right? She would take down the 2 fodder demons and then be attacked by these 2 demons. The first demon, which is upper 7, would have the ability to control his own hairs. I almost said blood on accident. That's why I had to stop, But yeah, he can control his own hairs and can pull out a singular piece of hair to use as a sword, which it actually grows into like a sword. So he would pull out his hair, pull out a piece of hair and make it into a sword and rush her, as well as lower I'm gonna say lower 1. Yeah, why not? The current lower 1. He would rush at Nezuko. And so upper 7 would stop as he wanted to see how good his pupil was. This guy has claws. His nails become like claws. And so he would swing at Nezuko, who would easily cut off his fingers using moon breathing. As she'd switch to water breathing and cut off both his arms, and then she would kick him in the chest. And switching to sun breathing, she would hit him with sunflower thrust. Hit him clean through the head with sunflower thrust. And then she would remember only at that moment that she had to cut off a demon's head to kill it. And the demon that's already, can't regenerate, for some reason, her blade would not let him regenerate. She does not have a nurturing blade, but her blade is a red blade because of how powerful and how much of a prodigy Nezuko is. Not only is Nezuko a prodigy, she already has the Demon Slayer mark. Her and Tanjiro were both born with it. Nezuko has see-through world. So does Tanjiro, but he doesn't, say anything. We're focusing on Nezuko. Everything Nezuko has, Tanjiro has it. He just chooses not to use it as he does not care to. But we will continue on with this fight for it. So, like I said, Nezuko would remember, I have to behead him. And so that's what she'd do, right in front of Upper 7. As Upper 7, by the way, the only reason they got in through the trees is because they jumped like the Sugikuni Manor, which has the Kamado family and Tokito family mixed in with it, is under a mountain. Like a mountain. And so they just jumped from the mountain and landed in the lake. That's in their backyard, by the way. And the Sugikuni compound is surrounded by trees, and then outside those trees are a village that they protect. So at this moment, all of the breath users or everyone in the families are patrolling the giant complex they have down below. The only people that are up there is the Kamado family. Well, not the whole Kamado family. The children, like the younger children. So the ones that are still training to become demon slayers. The ones that are, I'm gonna say they're down with their parents so they can get filled. So the only ones there is the Kamado family and the other young children from different families. Their father is there, who is still sick, but only because the Demon Slayer mark. Since I'm pretty sure that's why he was sick in canon too, the Demon Slayer mark. But he would sense his daughters sense this. Also, he isn't just sick by the Demon Slayer mark. I'm getting into why he's also sick now. So he would sense that his daughter is in danger, and he would go to Tanjiro and wake him up. And instead of grabbing his hatchet, he would go to a thing on the wall. He would move over a picture and press a button as it would open up to show this katana as yes, it's the same. Yeah. He would hand this and an outfit to Tanjiro as he would have like he knows that of Tanjiro's potential and Tanjiro's true strength. And he would say that since Tanjiro couldn't use a breathing style, but is such a great swordsman, he isn't worried. And plus, Tanjiro already said that he has something up his sleeve if he'd ever need to protect his family. As him and his father once had a talk, and he told his father the truth. I can use all of those things. I just choose not to use them. Plus, if push comes to shove, I already have a way of killing demons. I mean, I already have killed a demon. And this is a 6-year-old Tanjiro talking. He killed a demon at age 6 and has been killing demons since. These haven't been high-ranking demons, but he killed a lower moon, I'm going to say lower 7, when he was age 10. So Tanjiro isn't a pushover, yet he still never used a breathing style. He just cut its head off. And this blade, which is a Nichiren blade, by the way. Now I'm going to go into a bit of lore behind the blade before I continue on where I'm going. So, Tanjiro would, well, I said Tanjiro. Like I said, Yorichi's son would train with the blade, and after he couldn't train with it anymore. It would scatter everywhere, and he would grip it and pour the last of his energy into it, making the blade stabilize. But he would pass away in his wife's arm as the shards would fall to the ground. She would hire people to try to make a new blade for it, and she was gonna put it on a shelf, but whatever she tried, it never worked. It just never worked. And the blade never absorbs energy from people who can't use breathing styles. Like people who are just too strong to use breathing styles or too weak to use breathing styles, it does not absorb from. Or if the blade submits to their will, it won't absorb from them. He didn't know this, and the people who were trying to put a new blade on the sword didn't know this, as every time a new blade tried to be placed upon it, it would reject it. And so they would just ship it back. And so she would just simply place the blade onto the shelf as she would glue the pieces back together onto the blade. She would sharpen the edges. And once she would accidentally cut her finger on it, as the blade would absorb the blood, and this was still while she was I'm gonna say halfway through with fixing it. It would fix itself as this purple energy would flow into the air and surround her, as she would gain knowledge of breathing styles. And she would write all of them down and then unfortunately pass away. But their son, who was of age to take over the family, he would read all about breathing styles. This would be sun breathing, every breathing style. He would learn about it, know about it, and he would pass this on to his children, and his children would pass this on. But this would only be inside their clan. No one else could get to these files, as no one else could read this. This language that was only taught to the Sugikuni, Kamado, and Tokito families could not be read by anyone else. And so this mysterious blade was never found, as they couldn't decipher it, as she hid where the blade was inside, the book. As she gave the blade to Yorichi's friend, aka Tanjiro's original ancestor. So yeah, he would have hid the blade, and yeah, he would have written down an encryptment into the files of where to find it, and Tanjiro's father would have just had found it. By the way, the clothing is something different. I'm gonna say Tanjiro doesn't get the clothing yet, as I almost forgot how I said he was gonna get the clothing. It's gonna be totally different from what I just said. So yeah, So for right now, Tanjiro is wearing this. This is his outfit. Tanjiro would grab the blade, and his aura would start to get sapped by the blade. But he would look down at it, and he would glare at it as his eyes would turn red. And the blade would submit to him. This purple energy would flow back into him as he would smirk for some reason. And then he would grab his head and start clutching it as if he were in pain, but not a sound would come out. All these memories of someone who fights just like him, looks just like him, would flood into his head. This would be 7, and Tanjiro would cast away any doubts of this guy being him. That guy is me, but he's not. I'm not that cold-hearted. It must have been myself in the past, but why was I like that? All of these memories would fade away as his father would slap both sides of his face. Like he would like clap down on, take both his hands and like onto his face, right? To snap him out of it. And Tanjiro would nod saying, I almost forgot. And he'd say, I'll be right back. And he'd rush out. By the way, Nezuko has already taken care of lower 1. And she is now struggling against upper 7, who is dominating this fight badly. He had attacked her so hard that when she blocked it with her sword, the sword broke, and she had coughed out blood. And this scent of blood was smelled by all most people in the Kamado family have great noses, and that's another thing that would have snapped Tanjiro out of his daze. And so Tanjiro would have rushed there, and when their mother would have woken up, their father would have reassured her, telling her that Tanjiro is on the way to save Nezuko. At first she was skeptical, but he would explain everything Tanjiro has done and is confident that Tanjiro could take down upper 7. She was confused on why Tanjiro hid this from everyone when he was just as much of a prodigy as Nezuko. And the father would say that he just simply didn't like the fame. He didn't care for it. Tanjiro just wanted to be free. He liked being kind. He liked being a funny guy. But it seems like whatever he saw when he grabbed the blade made him do a complete 180. I mean, he still seems cheerful. He just seems more serious about being a demon slayer now. It must have been because he smelled his sister's blood. That could be the only reason. And so she would start to sob a bit, remembering her son's goofiness, his happiness. All of this she assumed just had vanished, and he's now a rebellious child. But their father would completely shut this down, saying that no, nothing like that. It's just that he's more serious about actually showing himself, and I guess tonight will be that night where he actually does. Now, the smell of blood wouldn't reach the others, but the sound of fighting would, as all the other, the Sugikuni and the Tokito family would start to rush there. As when they'd arrive, they'd just see Tanjiro standing over a fading demon with the blade, this blade in his hands. And he would just be staring down at it. Hold on. With blood on him. Now, we're gonna go back to how this happened. Okay, so Tanjiro would appear on the scene, and as soon as he'd get there, he would block an attack and then cut both the guy's arms and then the legs off, as he would kick it in the face. But these wouldn't last, as he would instantly, the demon would instantly regenerate, as Tanjiro would say, it seems normal attacks only last for a few seconds on you. It seems upper moons are way different from lower moons. God, this will be a pain. And now you might be wondering, why is Tanjiro so down about fighting? Well, Tanjiro was never an excited person. Well, never a person who got excited at the sound of or wanted to fight. But Tanjiro's eyes would then again go red, as now he's in control of whatever this power is. He isn't a demon, and it's just something that amplifies him. as he'd activate see-through world as well as his blade would shine purple. As basically this is the equivalent of the red blade. This is his equivalent to that. And so when his grip would get stronger, like I said, it'd start to glow purple. He'd rush forward and he would repeat his previous actions. He'd cut the hands and arms off the demon. But this time, in one foul swoop, he'd also behead it. And the demon would be shocked as this speed was just unbelievable. He just did all of this with no effort, it seemed. Tanjiro had killed an upper moon in mere seconds, and the body was fading as the head would be cursing Tanjiro, saying he's some type of monster. He shouldn't be alive. How can he be as strong as those guys? As, while looking at Tanjiro, even though he didn't look like them, for some reason, all he could think of, all his cells were screaming at him were to run, but it was already too late, and he kept getting flashbacks of Yorichi and Yorichi's son. Now, like I said, everyone would have been there, and they would see Tanjiro standing in front of an injured Nezuko as he'd be glaring down at this demon with his eyes red. His eyes would go back to normal as he would look around. By the way, like I said, Tanjiro looks like 7, so black hair, red eye. Well, not always red eyes. His eyes are black. So he has black hair, black eyes, and he doesn't have the outfit yet. Don't worry, it's coming soon. Actually, like obviously in this episode, but yeah. And the people there would start to think that, okay, Nezuko took it down, and he just showed up last second to keep her from being fatally attacked, I'm assuming. But Nezuko would stand up as Tanjiro would pick her up and hold her bridal style. Not saying that there's anything there, but that's just how he chose to hold her. He would say that he's gonna carry her, princess style, whatever, however you want to call it. He would carry her, saying that he doesn't care what they think happened. He's just glad his sister is okay. He would walk away and carry her back to their house. Now, this is another thing that is very common amongst demon slayers. Well, soon to be demon slayers. A tournament. They want to see how strong their children are, so every clan sends out a child or 2 children from that year that they had trained. Usually it's their best talents to go out and fight against other families. They aren't aiming to kill, but they are using actual blades, right? By the way, they aren't they're not allowed to kill. Killing isn't permitted. You wouldn't want a child to die, but if that child doesn't give up and ends up dying because of not wanting to give up, it's not the other participant's fault. It's the child's fault. And so, Tanjiro, who has been through this once before, he wasn't bitched around. He was just kind of there. He would block, dodge, and weave everything until he just simply jumped backwards into out of bounds, and he'd walk off saying he lost. This would piss off his opponents so bad. Everyone saw how nonchalant he was about it. They wanted, this guy wanted to kill Tanjiro, and he tried to, but Tanjiro, did the same thing the next year, and then the next year. This would repeat for 5 straight years. No. Yeah, 5 years. Yeah, because it started when they were 9. They started joining the tournaments when they were 9. By the way, Nezuko has always dominated. She always came in first place, and she was always seen as untouchable, even as a 9-year-old child. So now at age 14, the tournament has came around. Now, usually Hashira aren't allowed into it since, they aren't children. But Muichiro and his brother, what was it? Almost said Chunta. Bro, I know his name started with a... hold on. Alright, I'm back. So yeah, like I was saying, I knew his name started... It's crazy. I knew his name started with a U or a T. That's what I was finna say. But yeah, Muichiro and Yuichiro would both be participating since they were both still only 14, and this was their last year they could compete. They were looking forward to fighting against Nezuko. Yuichiro, who never fought against Tanjiro, would be set up to fight against Tanjiro. This would be to finally show, like, they wouldn't choose Tanjiro. This wouldn't even be their parents. This would be a different family altogether, as everyone chose who they wanted to fight who. Yuichiro and Tanjiro were some of the people that were left to be chosen to fight. But a guy from a different family would choose these two to fight since he wanted to see someone from the Kamado since the Kamados were always in second place to the Sugikuni clan. But only because the Sugikuni clan always had strong people in them. But now that Nezuko has sun and moon breathing, that probably won't happen, and they set her up against the supposed strongest in the Sugikuni clan, like all together. This guy is age 16. No, he is age 16. I'm gonna say the last years you can join is age is 16. And the only reason I said last year's for Yuichiro and Muichiro is because they are both already Hashira. This other guy isn't a Hashira. And it's only because his brother, who is a Hashira, his older brother is 3 years older than him, and he has a brother that's 2, and then another one that's 1 year older than him. Yeah, 1 year is crazy. But yeah. So this guy now being 16 would be like smirking, thinking that he's hot shit. He gonna get first place again since he only beat Nezuko 1 year. Like Nezuko defeated him for 4 years straight. She was dominant. And the only reason she lost to him the last year is because like I said, she had never been touched. She was unscathed for every year, all 5 years. The only reason she lost to him is because when they were fighting, she tried to use the, I'm gonna say, wait, which one was it? 12th form, right? No. I'm gonna say first form. Yeah, she went to use the first form, and she did it. And when she swung, he dodged to the side just barely, and the momentum sent her out of the ring, and that's how she lost. Yeah, well, off the platform, and that's how she lost. But I'm gonna call it a ring most likely. It's crazy. I'm gonna end up calling it a ring, an arena, or platform. Either of those will be correct. I don't care. Now, he does not know moon breathing. The only one who can't, like other people in their clan, can't use moon breathing. Like the second and third oldest brothers can't use moon breathing. Only him and his oldest brother can use sun breathing. There are 4 of them, and he is he was the next one in line to learn sun breathing, and he did. So Nezuko can use both sun and moon breathing, but she can also use every other breathing style since she's a sun breather. And sort of like the other guy, he can use them, but he just found them unuseful. And since everyone else can use it, he found it basic, so he never tried to use any other breathing style. He found them completely dog shit. Now, see, the thing about this is, this dampened his potential, as he could no longer use every other breathing style, since he never trained his body to be able to use any other breathing style but sun breathing. So this completely tanked his potential. While as Nezuko, Nezuko had trained her body and had trained her mental state. She trained everything to be able to use everything. She wanted to have everything in her arsenal so that she would never lose. As she wanted to protect her brother, she never wanted to lose since she never wanted Tanjiro to get hurt. She trained herself so hard, in fact, that if you remember when Tanjiro showed his hands, yeah, basically that would be Nezuko's hands. Tanjiro would notice this and would one day just make her like relax, and Nezuko would, since she listens to her brother, like she listens to her family, obviously, but like whenever Tanjiro tells her to do something, she does it immediately with no questions to ask. All right, I'm getting pissed off with these fuck ups. She does whatever Tanjiro asks of her. All right, I'm getting tired. That shit annoying. Whatever Tanjiro tells her to do, she would do it, no questions asked. How the fuck do I can? It's one fucking word. How the fuck am I messing up? Asked. It's asked, bro. How? Alright. Whatever Tanjiro tells her to do, she does it without any questions asked. Oh, hell no. What the, bro, I'm about to spaz out. Hold on. I'm about to drink water and hopefully... Alright, I'm back. So, yeah, she would listen to whatever Tanjiro tells her to do with no questions asked at all. There we go. She would not question him. She just does it. And she even made a day for them that she just completely does not train. That they go, they talk about their day, they have lunch, break, like they go out and eat together, they have fun, they play around, they do all types of junk together. That day is just for her brother. She has no other day for anyone else like this, just for her brother. As everyone else in their family had potential to use some form of breathing style. It's just Tanjiro couldn't, and she always pitied him. But it wasn't out of pity that she was helping him. She genuinely loved her brother, and she would not let anyone harm him, no matter who it was. And so this tournament was now about proving that she was the strongest. I mean, not about proving that she was the strongest. To her, it was just to see if she was strong enough to go up against the supposed strongest in the family. And even though she knew deep down that he isn't even the strongest, he's far from it. She knew that if she could beat him, she could ask that Tanjiro be free from even trying to become a demon slayer. And even though she saw how strong Tanjiro was, she knows that he doesn't want to be a demon slayer. This is just something Tanjiro did not want to do. And so she wanted him to be free of that duty. It sounded like something else came out of my mouth when I said that. Now, hold on 1 second. All right, I'm back. No, like I was saying. So, where was I? Oh, right. So, yeah, Tanjiro, who would have now had been training this wild-ish but perfect fighting style. Like, he could now perfectly do martial arts. He, like, previously, even though he had the body for a martial artist, he never could use martial arts. Like, this is just, like, simply something he could not do. But this new fighting style that came to his head when he picked up the blade for the first time, it fit him so well that he learned it immediately. His physicality became solider and more profound. He couldn't use them, but hypothetically, if he had breathing styles or could use them, even though the blade got rid of his, ability to use them, if he could use a breathing style, he could breathe forever, he felt. One breath, he could do all 13 forms of sun breathing. And even though he couldn't actually use the breathing style, he went through the motions, and in one breath, he could do all 13. That's how OP he had become in that short span. And so he started to think, if I can't use breathing styles, I'm not going to be able to keep up with demons. And so he decided to make his own breathing style that could only be used with the 1,000 demon dagger. And at first he asked permission from his father, who would at first be like, he would be hesitant at first, but he would just kind of agree. And so Tanjiro would nod, as he already knows the capabilities of his blade. Tanjiro would show him that it can expand, it can grow out, it can, get like, it can do all types of stuff. It can switch into shards, it can shoot off shards. The blade has a lot of versatility. And he would show his father all the versatile shit it could do. And his father would, he would just kind of nod as, yeah, by the way, I do know his father's name. I just haven't said it. His father's name is Tanjiro, if I remember correctly. Tanjiro. It sounds weird to pronounce. That's why I don't say it. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I'm gonna be so fucking mad if that ain't his name. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm like 50% sure. Nah, like 60, maybe 60% sure that's his name. Anyways, yeah, after that, he would make a breathing style that he would call, damn, I had a name for it, but I can't remember it. 1 second. All right, I remember it. And you can't tell me this name not hard. The 1,000 demonic breath style. And like, I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of hard. But yeah, he would make a breathing style called the 1,000 demonic breath style, and basically it's a mixture of a breathing style that he knows of, and only the by the way, this breathing style had been lost. Like, they completely lost this breathing style. Why? Because one day Kokoshibo showed up to the compound, wrecked the shit, found the files, and only took shadow breathing style. You might be wondering, why would he take this breathing style? Well, he had fought someone that was from the Sugikuni clan that had learned this style. This style. No, I'm gonna say this was in the Tokito family. This would be their father. I'm gonna say their father knew this breathing style. And he fought Kokoshibo. He fought him for a singular day straight, but inevitably he lost, and the file was taken by Kokoshibo, who destroyed it after he couldn't learn it. But for some reason, Tanjiro knew this breathing style, and so this new breathing style is a mixture of all breathing styles, but not all of them. And, I mean, it is, but it's not. And the main compounds of this breath style is sun breathing, moon breathing, shadow breathing, thunder breathing, and flame breathing. No, wind breathing. My bad, wind breathing. Yeah. And the reasons for this is because, well, damn, how can I explain it? Well, obviously, all breathing styles being inputted into it is because of the 1,000 in it. And there could be thousands of hypothetical breathing styles. There just isn't. But there could hypothetically be 1,000. And so that's what, like, it's 1,000 breathing styles in one. And the main forms, like the main ones of the breath style, are just, well, basically darkness. But it isn't. Since, it's a demonic blade, but it isn't, And so, yeah. And after this, by the way, the breathing style has 1,000 forms. Like, he didn't make them. Like, as soon as he came up with the name and the idea of mixing every breathing style, legitimately, that night, 1,000 forms poured into his head. He had a mean headache and was going through so much pain that night, but he never made a sound. He didn't want to worry his sister, who slept in the same room as him. He didn't want to worry Nezuko, and so he took the pain in silence. He laid there and he just shook in his bed. Nezuko, who at first like woke up in the middle of the night and saw him like shaking, thought he was sick, but he like told her that he was fine, and he had to force himself to not shake until she went to sleep. And she would go back to sleep almost immediately after drinking some warm milk that he went and got for her. And as soon as he got back in his bed, he would wrap up in covers and the shaking would continue until the next day when he would already be asleep, since the 1,000 had ended after Nezuko had went back to sleep. Like, he shook for like 10 minutes after that, and then, you know. So yeah, after that he took a bath, and as if he had removed all of this dirty, disgusting, all of this off of him, it was as if he had sweat off a lot of fat. He was just pure, like this was when goes back to when I was saying that his musculature had changed. This is why. So yeah, he would, like, all of the fat that was on him, not all of it obviously, because you can't handle that, but yeah, most of his fat would be gone, as he was just nothing but muscle left. He was muscle with flexibility. Like, when I say this man had become so flexible, it was crazy. And Tanjiro would obviously be confused on why he would need the flexibility, but assumed it was because of love breathing, which he has recollection of, because Mitsuri made love breathing, and since the blade collects every breathing style into memory, it knows of it, right? So, it knowing of love breathing, he would assume that it's love breathing, since it requires a whip blade, and for the user to be very flexible, since he can use the blade as a whip. He just assumed love breathing was the cause of it. And so yeah, back to the day of the tournament. Tanjiro would meet up with a friend, his one and only friend, that could also not use breathing styles. He would be from the Sugikuni clan. He would be a branch member of the Sugikuni clan. The kid was a skinny guy who had the same sickness as his father, but not because he touched the blade, but because he was born with the see-through world, and he would also be born with the mark. Now, his mark is different from Tanjiro's father's, obviously, because Demon Slayer marks aren't always the same. His Demon Slayer mark would be the crest that you see right here. No, the crest that you see right here on the blade, right? And Tanjiro, seeing this, would ask, when did he unlock it? And the guy would just say he unlocked his Demon Slayer mark when he was a kid. He just always hid it. Tanjiro knew that he was always frail, but he never really asked why. But seeing him just walk up to him with his Demon Slayer mark on full display was shocking to him. The guy would hand Tanjiro an outfit as a congratulations gift for, unlocking the sword. Like, everyone knows what the sword is, and no one had been able to use the sword besides Yorichi's son, and since it's made from Yorichi's blade, Yorichi himself. And so people praised Tanjiro for this feat, but no one really cared, since now that he has this blade, he can't use a breathing style, since they had heard that when the founder of their clan got the sword, he could no longer use a breathing style. But Tanjiro's friend would hand him this outfit, saying that he thought it looked cool on him. And Tanjiro would smile at it as he'd go and change into the outfit, as he'd thank him, and he'd pat his friend on the back, saying that he hopes that his friend would say that he'd hope that Tanjiro doesn't get too injured, and Tanjiro would say he'll win just for him. Well, unless he has to face his sister, then he'll lose. And they'd both get laugh about this until the guy would start to cough, as Tanjiro would lead him back to the stands, and he would line up with the rest of the children. Now, everyone would be laughing at Tanjiro's choice of an outfit, but he would glare at them. For the first time, Tanjiro's expression wasn't cheerful. He wasn't, playing around. He did not like that they were making fun of an outfit his friend had made for him. And Nezuko as well was glaring at them as she didn't know where he got it, but seeing her brother get so defensive over this outfit, it must be very important to him. And so now she was mad. And so Nezuko's first opponent would be the guy who originally started making fun of it, of Tanjiro's outfit. No, I'm gonna say Tanjiro's first opponent. And the reason I'm gonna say it was him first is because it's the guy that Tanjiro would always run from. He did not like that Tanjiro always ran from him. So every time they saw saw each other, he would always make fun of Tanjiro. He was not letting Tanjiro get away. He had learned thunder breathing. This guy, like most demon slayers, was gonna start off with water breathing, but he would meet I'm gonna say a random guy knew thunder breathing, and I'm gonna say he knew every form but the first form. This guy would teach him every form of it, and he took him to Jigoro, aka the thunder breathing instructor, who would teach him first form, as he could never catch up to Tanjiro because he couldn't. Like every time Tanjiro would just parry, dodge, or block all of his attacks, and then he'd run away whenever he'd use an attack that was supposed to reach him. But with first form, he was pretty damn confident he would beat Tanjiro before he could even move. He'd say that he won't aim for his neck since thunder breathing is a deadly technique. He'll aim for one of his arms, or his wrist more so. And Tanjiro wouldn't take this to heart, as he'd say, then I'll take that arm of yours. The whole arm. Not your wrist, not your hand. I'll take your whole arm. And this would piss the guy off, and everyone would be shocked as Tanjiro had never, spoken out like this. Like every clan knows of Tanjiro. They call him the incompetent twin of the prodigy. And at first, Kokoshibo, who heard about this and knew of Tanjiro, felt sympathy for Tanjiro, as every tournament he would arrive to see Tanjiro. He knew Tanjiro's potential was great, and he knew of Tanjiro, he knew that what Tanjiro could do since he saw him, but he just felt bad for Tanjiro since he was, like him, overshadowed by his twin, and he didn't like it. And so at first he thought to kill Nezuko, but he saw how great their relationship was and was jealous of it. So he just left Tanjiro alone. He didn't care. But hearing this from Tanjiro, by the way, he is there. He is being hidden by a talisman. I'm gonna say there's another demon that can use talismans. Don't worry, that demon ends up dying after this tournament. You're gonna see why. But Kokoshibo and said demon would be they'd both be present. And Kokoshibo would just scoff at Tanjiro's assertiveness, saying that he was once like that too, thinking that he was hot shit. But watching this kid lose makes his day every time. And obviously, this is out of jealousy of him being, cool with his twin, and he's jealous. He would also be jealous of Muichiro and, his brother Yuichiro, but he wouldn't say anything. So, the fight would begin as the guy would instantly try and speed blitz him using Thunder Breathing's first form. But Tanjiro would draw his blade just a little and block it. And then he would flick the hilt upwards, which would cause the bottom of the sword. It would cause this part of the sword right here. Yeah, this shit right here. That would hit Broski in the face, and not in the face, in the chin. It would hit him in the chin and send him flying upwards, as he would go flying upwards and then slam back down into the arena, as Tanjiro would catch the blade in his right hand, and he would point it down at him, saying that he's nothing but a waste of space, and he should learn when to close his fucking mouth. And again, no one heard Tanjiro swear before. And to them, this was different, as Tanjiro had put on the hood and his eyes would turn red. As now Tanjiro is not playing around anymore. Tanjiro is pissed, and he is not taking shit anymore. So Tanjiro would jump backwards, and whilst going backwards in the air, he would start to draw he would resheath the blade and start to draw it, as he knew the guy would get up and try and hit him with first form again. So while in the air, Tanjiro would use one of his own breathing style techniques. Thousand demons. Damn it. One second.